In our last episode, we visited New Bern, North Carolina, known as the Bear City. Certainly there were a lot of bears there. Upon leaving, though, we found a black bear in front of us swimming across the Intercoastal Waterway. We visited Belhaven, North Carolina, watched a sailboat navigate a 65-foot bridge, and then ended up in Coinjock, North Carolina for their famous prime rib. In this week's episode, we leave Coinjock, North Carolina, head up the Intercoastal through a lock to Norfolk, Virginia, through the Naval Shipyard area, and we anchor there, and we anchor over also in Hampton, Virginia. Then we head out into the Chesapeake Bay up to Deltaville and Reedville, Virginia, and then we finally stop in Solomon, Maryland for the evening. Have you ever dreamed of selling it all and cruising into the sunset? Well, that's exactly what we did. It's no fun going it alone though, so why don't you join us for the ride? Leaving Coinjock. They packed these boats in. A couple boats have already left. They're packed in. Saw this mama duck and her 13 ducklings leaving Coinjock, but she better be careful because just a short ways away looks like there's a duck blind, so no doubt people are hunting on the Intercoastal during hunting season. As we proceeded north out of Coinjock, we were pretty lucky to get light winds and a beautiful sunrise. Overall, it was a very nice trip that morning over towards Norfolk. Thought we were coming to another duck blind, but in the middle of the channel, and oddly enough it was just this big clump of grass out in nowhere. We had one lock to go through just south of Norfolk, but it only dropped 1 foot. After leaving the lock, there were a series of drawbridges to go through and all the boats were stacked up. We had a little bit of wait, but got through there in probably about 30 minutes. On the other side was Norfolk and the start of the shipyard area, which is extremely industrial, both naval and commercial, which we did not really know about. First thing we saw was this huge aircraft carrier in dry dock. The current was pretty strong and it took 2 tugs to hold this cargo ship in place. We had no idea how large of a naval shipyard it was here, and it was just amazing to see ship after ship in dry dock and in the water getting serviced. This particular cargo ship was humongous, and it must have had over 1,000 containers on it, and then just as many to the left side of it that they were either loading or unloading. I must say, since the original Top Gun movie, I've been intrigued by aircraft carriers, so it was pretty cool to see 4 of them lined up. What happened when you anchor near a naval base. We thought it might be quiet because it was a Sunday, but we were wrong. These guys practiced hovering for about 3 to 4 hours. We ended up spending the night. They quieted it down maybe around 9 or 10, but then we left the next morning for Hampton, Virginia, just across the way. Our friend Mike from Easy Riders was over in Hampton, and he gave us a tip that it was calm and he found a nice little anchorage. So we rafted up. Leaving our anchorage, nice calm anchorage in Hampton, Virginia, I guess, across from Norfolk, and we are headed out after a nice night rafted up
with Easy Riders to up the Chesapeake Bay on the, I guess it'd be the western side. Destination Deltaville today. About 38 miles, so should be a nice little short cruise here as we enter the Norfolk Harbor and the aircraft carriers in the distance. So being Norfolk Harbor, it's a big naval base. It looks like this naval ship is exiting the harbor to the Chesapeake area and out to the ocean. But what's really cool is we heard on the radio, what's coming in is aircraft carrier number 5. And they've been talking on the radio that he was coming in on VHF and talk about a pilot boat pulling up alongside. My guess is with a boat that size and that cost, there's probably some maritime rules about coming into a port and having a local pilot come aboard, even if you're Navy. So pretty cool to see. And obviously they have the right of way, so we're just hanging back a little bit.
This is Warship 6-4 in the vicinity of Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, outbound to Naval Station Yorktown. Security. This is Warship 6-4 in the vicinity of Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, outbound to Naval Station Yorktown. This is Warship 6-4 standing by on channels 1316, out.
Yep, and that would be Warship 6-4, the smaller vessel, going to the left.
As we headed up to the Chesapeake, there was a wind against us, so it was a bit choppy. In the distance, we saw at least 20 anchored cargo ships. Not sure really whether they're looking to load or unload.
We are in Deltaville. I don't know if that's the little inlet to the Chesapeake down there. We got up here back in a creek, as they call it, Jackson Creek. And it's a nice little anchorage in a residential area. Beautiful as the sun's setting. There's another kind of marina back there that you can see. But we have island time here. And Easy Riders rafted up to us again. Just a beautiful little anchorage. Serene, about 70, 75 degrees out. Pretty lumpy up the Chesapeake. Headed into the wind, probably 2 to 3 foot seas. Coming into Reedville, Virginia.
We had stayed aboard last night in Deltaville, so we really wanted to get off the boat, stretch our legs, and kind of take a look around Reedville. We could see a church steeple and some boats at a dock, so we figured that might be the center of town. As we got closer, we couldn't really see any sort of a public dock, but there was an area with a couple nice restored-looking boats, and somebody was on one, so we asked them if we could tie up, and she said absolutely. And apparently she was a descendant of the gentleman that built the nearby boat museum. So we docked behind the museum that wasn't open that day, but the lady said that we could have a look around. It was easy to see that boating, crabbing, fishing was a big part of the culture of Reedville. They had a very cool wooden skiff exhibit. I would imagine that this is either a commercial fishing boat or a commercial crab boat. We walked down what looked to be the main street, and there were some beautiful looking Victorian homes. At some point, we stumbled upon the headquarters of Woody Boater. It seems to be a community dedicated to wooden boats, finding, restoring, photographing, etc. And though it was closed, we kind of walked around, and it was a pretty cool place. It looks like they haul their boats using this antique railway system. You gotta love the anchor decorations. How about this old wooden tug? And we got a kick out of this graveyard made of old boat rudders. Someone has a sense of humor. And of course we were parched, but being a Monday, it seems like nothing in town was open. So we just kept walking around and taking in the sights. Reedville is definitely a fishing town.
This is our anchorage off of the Chesapeake in Reedville, Virginia, I think. Gorgeous little anchorage. Gorgeous day, probably 80 degrees. Nice little town of Reedville. Should be a nice night, low humidity, no rain. The wind should die. It's pretty windy right now.
My buddy Mike on Easy Riders says he knows my pattern. I like to pick anchorages in front of $1 million homes. Why do you think they're there? It's usually a beautiful place. Leaving Reedville this next day, spied this beautiful house on a little private peninsula. Looks like house, guest house, boathouse. Absolutely gorgeous. Also on the way out of Reedville, I spied some boat hulls, possibly aluminum. In the distance, looks like they must be doing some boat building there. Spied this interesting thing on the way into the Chesapeake. The chart is marked with fish traps, so that's what it must be.
So we picked up a mooring ball here at Zanheiser's Safe Harbor Marina. It's actually pretty nice cove. First time we paid by the foot. It was $1.50 a foot. Typically it's like $30 a mooring ball. The most we paid was $40, but it's been $30. But there's free laundry, nice pool, great showers, a shuttle to take you to the store. So it's really full service. It's probably worth it, as long as you take advantage of those services. We decided to pick up a mooring ball because it was real rough today, and some of these support bars, the set screws I had holding them up here, the framework came loose in about 4-foot seas. And thankfully I have a rivet tool, so I put these rivets in here and I drilled them out and put rivets in. So 4 rivets. Now hopefully this will keep this unit vertical, and it's connected into the back bimini here. Let's hope. bathhouses. Jagunda boat lift. Wow. Pool bar. Avondale, historically inspired homes.
Pretty cool development of new homes adjacent to the marina. Pretty nice church and meeting space right on the bay. Just might make me want to go to church again. The front yard was honoring the fallen as part of Memorial Day. You know you're in Maryland when you see crab boats and crab traps. Solomon's has about a half mile of shops and restaurants down a cobblestone walkway.
Cryptic pizza.
And Island Time was parched after this long walk, and of course, this sign was calling our name. Never been at a tiki bar we didn't like. It's kind of quiet because we were there at midday, but we hear it gets pretty jamming at nighttime. Thank you all for joining our travels this week, and stop by next week where we'll be going to Annapolis, Maryland, and heading over to Cape May, New Jersey.